What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to be going over how to tell the difference between OEM seats and aftermarket seats. As you can see, both of these 2R1s have their seats on them and the seats both look good. So let's take them off the bikes and then put them on the bench so we can start comparing them. All right, we got both of the driver's seats on the bench. As you can see right off the rip, the one on the left, I'll tell you, this is the OEM one and this is an aftermarket one. You can see that the OEM one has more of a sharper shape to it, and you can see that it has more of a smoother look to it, where this aftermarket one, which doesn't look bad by the way, and it does fit pretty good, but you can tell it's more rounded, and same with the sides as well. You can see that it's not as sharp and pointy right off the rip. Both materials feel good, obviously. So now we'll flip the seats over so we can see the markings on here so you can tell the difference between the genuine ones and the aftermarket ones. All right, so first we'll both look at the seats. You can see that the frames are very similar, if not almost identical for the most part. You can see this part, how it has this, it has that as well. Same with this, and even the notches are mostly the same for the most part, except on the OEM one, you'll see these two rails right here, and it does not have that here. So you can see the rails in the middle, and this one does not have it. And you have a look at both. It does have the side parts that are here. So that's there, that's the same. All right, we look at the centerpiece, looks pretty identical. Same with this one as well, looks pretty much identical. Same with the back, and the holes along with the mounting points, they look very identical. OEM ones, you can see right here, have these notches that are going sideways, and it has, let's see, 3 on the right side, and this one only has 2, and there's 3 on this side, and this one has 3. So little differences here and there. Also, something that distinguishes an OEM genuine seat from the aftermarket ones is you can see there is actually letters here. This is a Y5JJ. So this is for the year 5JJ, which is a 2000, 2001 in the USA. There's a little symbol right here with the letters PP and a number on the side. You can see that this one does not have any of those markings. It does not have a marking over here, and there is nothing over here as well. So that's how you can tell the difference. You want to look for this, the Y5JJ. If it doesn't have that on that, it's not genuine. You may see some with some numbers on the side because obviously aftermarket copies have gotten a lot better over the years. Who knows how old this one is, but not for nothing, this isn't bad. You could probably get one of these for like 70 bucks on eBay for an OEM one, depending if, you know, obviously if you're buying brand new versus brand new, this would be a lot more expensive, but this is the right one for it. However, this is not a bad alternative if you don't mind having an aftermarket seat. All right, so now that we basically showed and told you about the differences between the driver's seats, let's go look at the passenger seats. Here's the passenger seat. We had the same deal with the OEM one on the left side and the aftermarket on the right. So we'll start comparing the two of them and show you the differences. So you can see that this part and this part is basically identical. Same with the posts for the most part. The body itself seems identical up to here and on this side as well. You can see that this being the OEM one, it has a different center latch as to compared to this one where it's just one single part. It's not a T. Both of them do have the straps. However, this material on this one is a lot thinner for sure. No doubt about that. So the little bump here that kind of holds it in place is just about the same, which is good. You can see the numbers printed on here, and this one has none. And there's supposed to be lettering here for the model, and that PP, I'm not sure what that is for or stands for, but they do have that emblem, as I'll show you on the OEM one. So you can see right there, there's your Y5JJ. This shows this is genuine, and you have the PP marking over there with those two little arrows kind of going to it. So, is the aftermarket seat a bad option? Definitely not. it fits pretty decent, and it's it's a good product for what it is. It's not OEM. Obviously, OEM stuff is always the best that you can get, as a lot of you already know. But the aftermarket option is not a bad idea if you have a rip seat. Also, you can see that we have these little pieces here, and this thing does not have that. I'm not sure if that's something that could be added. Probably, because there's a hole there for the bolt, and it does have this part like it has over here. So it's maybe possible to buy it and get the bolt, but like I said, at that point, you might as well try to just find a good conditioned OEM seat. Also, another thing you'll notice is that these are kind of riveted into the frame, and these have bolts, and also this bolt and this bolt is a lot different. The OEM one has a bigger one with a bigger nut, and this is kind of, cheesy, which is expected from an aftermarket piece. You can see the stapling is definitely more spread out on here. And this one, let's see, it's about the same, a little bit less, but you can see that the staples do go farther in. Or it could be around the same, but obviously this is the OEM seat on the left. All right, so let's look at the fitment of it on the bikes. So first we'll look at the aftermarket seats. As you can see, it grips the tank pretty good. But like I said, overall the seat does look like a little bit bulgy, more than the OEM one does. It doesn't look as slick. However, it is not a bad alternative. So I'll get you the other side real quick. Like I said, it lines up good. Hangs over a little like it should. So it's not a bad piece. Like I said, if you lost your OEM seat and you didn't want to pay the price of a new one, then you could get something like this for relatively cheap, around, I don't know, around 70, 80 bucks on eBay. I've seen them. Okay, and on to the rear seat. Now the rear seat, it fits and it doesn't look too bad, but it does, let's see, we'll see if the OEM one has this amount of gap that this has. Maybe that's normal, but we'll check. It does fit pretty good. So it's really not a bad alternative if you end up losing your seat. It does have the strap like the OEM one does, which is nice. All right, so let's go look at the OEM one. Okay, so obviously you can tell that the OEM seat is definitely more sleek. It's definitely not as rounded as the other one. It does seem to hug the tank a little bit better, which is a pretty nice thing. And obviously, it's OEM, so it's going to be the best that you can get. Both of them feel the same. I sat on both. And the passenger seat does look good. And you can see there's less of a gap in between the fairing and the actual seat itself. The OEM seat, obviously since it's OEM, it clips on and fits perfect. The aftermarket seat, I did have to jiggle it into place a little bit to get it to catch, but it did finally go. But you can see that there is a good size difference in that gap over here between the OEM and the aftermarket. So OEM passenger seat for the win. Obviously same with the driver's seat, but like I said, not a bad alternative. So overall, I'm pretty impressed with the aftermarket stuff. It has come a long way. Same with the aftermarket fairings and stuff like that. It's good because if for some reason we can't get the OEM stuff, you do have the option to get the aftermarket stuff. And it is cheaper, of course, which is good. Even though the same with the aftermarket headlights, I found some on eBay, and I actually got them for a 2003 that I restored, and they were like dead on perfect fitment. I was very impressed with them. Couldn't believe how good they fit and how well that they actually performed, just exactly like OEM did. I don't think that they had the little, the writing on here like these do, or it may have had something similar to it. But like I said, that aftermarket set that I had for the 03, which I did restore, you can see in some of my older previous videos. You can check that out. But yeah, like I said, I was so impressed with those aftermarket ones. Great alternative if you crack your OEM ones and you want to get new headlights, or if yours are scuffed up. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for the video. You can't go wrong with these things if you want to get them. Don't expect dead on 110% fitment, you know what I mean? It does fit, but like I said, it's just a little bulgy and it is a little bit off in some areas, like I said here. However, it's not a bad piece, so don't be afraid to get it. If you have to get aftermarket, you can do it. But if you can afford OEM brand new ones, absolutely, by all means, spend it. Stuff is still available for these bikes, which is good. I'm not sure if every single thing is, but I do see on some websites that you can order like the fairings and whatnot. So if you do want to check out a video I made on an Mark fairing review, the fairings were actually really good and they had a beautiful color to them and it came out really nice. It made a bike that I restored that was, you know, laid down. It was like a brand new bike after I cleaned everything up. So you really can't go wrong with them. So this bike is starting to get along away, and you can see the tail looks in much better shape. I do need to touch up this little part over here with a tiny bit of paint. When I was using the compound and the mother's ball, I did actually burn through it just a little bit. That's why it's very important that you are very light and go carefully with it. It's probably best to use your hand first just to rub the compound in and see how it works. And if you're happy with the result, leave it. Don't use it unless you need to. All right, guys, so I hope this video was helpful. I'll see you guys in the next one.